platform. Okay, get in the chat and let me know how you guys are doing. Miss Vicky, I can see you're driving, so don't do that. But good morning, sister. Good morning, good morning. Today we're going to talk about our food and how that plays a role in everything. And before we do that, just take a nice deep breath. I've been racing around doing morning chores. We were engulfed by freezing fog this morning, and now it's starting to open up, but I was doing firewood and different things this morning already. So I'm just going to pause and take a nice deep breath because I was racing. And I imagine you guys are hearing me, so that's good. We're on the right track. So I have a lot of people come to me, and it's not just my clients, but I see it in the world in general. You know, everybody's looking for that magic pill, whether it's to have more energy or to sleep better or to lose weight or whatever the case may be. Everybody's always looking for that quick fix. And there is no such thing, especially in a healing journey. But I will say there is one thing that will help you get on track so much faster than you could have ever imagined. And that is taking your food into a new realm. Meaning that you view your food as part of your health care. And that you focus on investing in your food because you're investing in your health. In my practice, it is important in my eyes to have people become spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically balanced. And in order to do that, it starts with putting good habits in place. And the very first one is our food. Our food is so toxic today. However, I'm going to put my hands up and praise a bit here that we are seeing some really wonderful, positive changes taking place, and very rapidly. And you know, some of you may not agree with me on that, and that's perfectly okay. But I'm praising it and I'm celebrating it because it all starts with our food. And if you start to look at the packaging of the food you're eating, and not in the ingredients area, in the small writing on the sides of your products, and this is not anything new, but it's now having to be addressed, and it needs to be known. But there are bioengineered ingredients being placed in a lot of our food. Just take a look at the chewing gum. You know, how many of you go to the store, you're in the checkout, there's the chewing gum aisle, and you just grab something. You don't even think twice about it. Whoever had to think that, you know, it wasn't just sugar, that's in it that you need to be cautious of, and maybe you're getting the sugar free. That's great too. But something as simple as a piece of chewing gum has bioengineered ingredients. So what does that mean? Most people are like, oh, well, that's okay. They just make it in a lab. Well, yeah, they make it in a lab. Guess what? There is nothing in that is normal food. And I'm going to go here and be bold enough to say this because it's really important that we think about this. You know, over the last 5 years, there were a lot of things that were trying to be placed in our bodies. And many of us rebelled on that. Many of us chose to protect ourselves and our bodies, our minds, our futures, from Lord knows what. And, you know, I believe, you can call it a tinfoil hat, whatever you wish to, but, you know, there have been efforts to get those same things into our bodies in other ways. Bioengineered food is, in my opinion, one of them. Why would we be making something in a lab when we could make it on God's green earth and in the countryside that He created for just that? You know, why do we have to be injecting our animals with, you know, immense amounts of hormones and Again, Lord only knows what. It's really important that we realize what we're putting in our bodies. And I want you guys to start really paying attention to that and change your view on food. And yes, I know that the argument is it's really costly. And, one of our friends in our community has 11 in her family. So I sympathize with that, because that's a hard place to be, to have 11 mouths to feed and be able to purchase, healthier foods. I get that. I totally get that. Even just for the three of us, for my husband and my son and myself, it can be costly at times. We live in a small area, small towns, 100 people one town, 3,000 the next. The best place to shop is an hour and 20 minutes away or 2 hours away to get the better pricing. So you've got fuel mixed in that. But in the smaller towns, I'll just give you an example. A jug of milk that I purchase in the big city is like $4.59. It's $8.95 in a small town. So, that's double the price of what I'm paying in the small town. So it also takes a little bit of effort and time to figure out pricing. And does it benefit me to get it in the small town and save the fuel? Or is it better for me to make it, and trust me, I hate shopping. So it's a once a month trip and you stock up on what you need. So, but you calculate the difference. So does it serve me better to go to the bigger town, get the better pricing once a month, and just stock up on the things that I need? We hunt and we live off the land. So by being able to do that, my meats are very inexpensive. An elk provides, I don't know, probably 300 to 500 pounds of meat. That's a huge savings if I were to go out and buy grass-fed, grass-finished meat, because that's all I could eat. And I will say this, we're fortunate because we are not in an area where there are GMO cornfields or soybean fields everywhere that the animals are feeding off of, because you have to remember that what the animals are eating, you are eating. So we live in tall timber. We are very fortunate to have healthy meats that we can procure. So Laura said it has warmed up to -8 today. Okay, we are above the negatives. Now we have rotten snow. It was a rodeo getting in here last night. I had to run out, and when I came back in, it was a rodeo. But I made it back in. I didn't have to put the chains on, but I'd take the cold over the rotten snow. I like the cold. As a matter of fact, that crisp cold is so much nicer, because I hope to get out on my snowshoes, and that dampness isn't there when you have those negative temperatures. So it's just a good fleece kind of day, and just make sure your skin's covered. She says, well-insulated tiny homes don't take much to warm up. I know, isn't it beautiful? Not a whole lot of firewood, cozy warm, sometimes a little too warm. It's warm in the house when it's negative outside and you've got the door partway open. That happens when we're cooking dinner often. She says, as a child, I remember chewing on the inside of a weed, almost like chewing gum. I need to see if I can identify that again. Yeah, and, tree sap. There's a lot of things in our wild. Even, when I was in my garden, getting a leaf of cilantro, spearmint tea, and a little bit of stevia. It was like chewing on like just creating your own little tea concoction that you're chewing on, but we've really got to watch. There's a big controversy right now on Hellmann's mayonnaise, because it's now displaying on the jar that there is bioengineered ingredients in there. And it's not a surprise to me, not even a little. It's disturbing that we've got to look that hard. And I've been looking at labels since my son was 6 and 7, because that's when he needed to go gluten-free and dairy-free. Dairy and gluten are fillers in absolutely everything. Everything everything. So, that took a lot of research, a lot of energy, a lot of time, and it just became part of my life. I know labels, but I also know that I need to check those labels periodically because over the time here, you've heard me sharing that not all clean companies are still clean companies. And, a lot of people I know view it like this. It's a lot of work, and you know what? You got to die of something. You're right. But if you're also out there looking for the magic pill to cure your aches and your pains, your high blood pressure, your autoimmune issues, you name it, fibromyalgia, because all of this stuff that we're eating causes gut dysbiosis, gut imbalance. Gut imbalance causes all kinds of other issues, neurological issues, ADHD. Really, truly, gut imbalance is the root cause of pretty much every disease that we encounter on our planet today. And remember, I am not here to cure or to diagnose or to heal anybody. I'm sharing my knowledge with you. I'm sharing honest facts. And I want, in my practice, the first thing we do is we focus on, our spiritual, our mental, our emotional state. We create good habits in that place, journaling, doing things that give you joy, exercise, expressive writing. But the next thing that we work with and simultaneously is food. And we shouldn't have to be walking around the planet worried about a diet. I hate that word. I hate that word. I grew up in that word. I lived that word for so much of my life. But when we're eating good, healthy food, you do not need to even focus on that. A well-balanced, healthy diet and normal exercise will allow the body to do what it needs to do naturally. My son is walking that out right now. He detoxed with me. We did a gut protocol. We did some heavy metal protocols. And because he went off to college, and when he went off to college, there was a lot of stress, a lot of wrong food that he just couldn't get around. In that scenario too, it's hard. So he put on a lot of weight, and now it's just dropping off without any effort because he's eating right, he's active, and he got rid of all the culprits. He got rid of the gut dysbiosis. He got rid of all the heavy metals. And those things we have to realize are coming in from our food as well. If you are eating out of cans, and the cans have been sitting, and they're in hot, and then they're in cold, and then they're in hot, and then they're in cold, and who knows how they're being shipped, how they're being stored. But we are eating oftentimes what our food is stored in plastic bags that are not BPA free. So all of that toxicity is ending up in our bodies, and our bodies don't know what to do with it. It's foreign to our bodies, therefore it gets shoved in our fat. So that's why we have a world of even obese children, because the school systems are feeding that kind of food to our children too. It's a really sad and vicious cycle, but it is a cycle that we can break, and it is starting to get broken. And that is why I am celebrating, because there are things going into place to regulate what is going in our food, what is being divulged to us. And I think that we're going to hit a place where there are things that are no longer permitted in our food. I mean, there are other countries that do not use the same ingredients we do. They are banned as toxic and life-threatening, yet we use it in much of our products. And the reason I said about the labeling too is because right now you have natural flavorings on your food. Well, guess what? Several years back, quite a few years back, they passed it that anything could be put under natural flavoring. So people that are dealing with MSG sensitivities, won't know that there's MSG in their food because it's nestled under natural flavorings. I don't touch anything that says natural flavorings, regardless if it's non-GMO or organic or not. I flare every time I eat that stuff. So I don't trust it. I don't know what's in it. And if you can't read the labels well and pronounce what's in your food, don't eat it. Don't eat it. And Laura watched me yesterday spitting through a bunch of those, trying to. There's no point in even trying to. And why do they make them so long and ridiculous? So that you don't look them up, because you can't type them and spell them very easily. You can't pronounce them to save your life. I don't know. It's a mess. But things are changing. And I'm not sharing this to, discourage people. I'm sharing this to educate people, because we really need to know what's in our food. Those following me for years have heard me talk about this for a long time. But today I'm praising that there are changes being put in place. The other thing is, we're heading into spring. If you have a balcony, if you have windowsills, start growing some of the things that you enjoy. If you enjoy sprouts, grow some sprouts in your kitchen. And just be cautious, pay attention to them. Take the time to do it right, because if you're eating moldy sprouts, you're harming yourself and causing yourself more issues. Sprouted things are something that you do need to pay attention to. Black mold is very harmful. I know firsthand. I'm actually combating that right now internally. So just from some exposure. So being aware of these things is important. But sprouting is a really great thing. Fermenting your foods is a really great thing, unless you have histamine issues, mast cell activation. If you do, get ready. I have a course coming that is going to really enlighten things for you. That is coming soon. That's Conquering Histamine and Renegade Genes. My ladies that are here in front of me in my special access are part of my beta group right now, and are learning a lot of things pertaining to histamine in the body and how that all plays a role. So don't eat fermented foods if you have high histamine or mast cell activation issues, because it exacerbates the histamine in the body. So yes, it is a very good food. It is a very good probiotic, but it can affect some if you have mutated genes as well, and dirty genes, renegade genes. So this is a lot of information. I know I'm jumping around, but I am educating on these things in my community. I'm educating on these things in my detoxes, my monthly detoxes, or quarterly detoxes, and in my class that I'm doing. We're really doing a deep dive. The more educated we become on our food, the better off we are. The more we realize that there are avenues to get the better food. Trader Joe's, some of your health food stores have really good sales. I can get things on sale at one of our health food stores that are incredible sales. So I look for the sales and I get those things, and then we enjoy it. So it's a treat, and it's okay. We don't have to have everything all the time if it doesn't fit in our budget, but we can learn to shuffle things a little better. Walmart, I don't like to shop at the box stores, but Walmart has great non-GMO organic foods. Not all of them. You might have to go from Walmart to find the foods you're looking for. We have a chain store here in the Pacific Northwest called Winco. You guys on the East Coast, you have Sprouts, you have Whole Foods. Just a word of warning. Be cautious when you're in these stores, because you go in those Whole Food stores, those organic food stores, and you assume that because you're in an organic Whole Food store, that's all they'd have on their shelf. It's not the case either. Really sucks. I know. It really, really does suck that you have to be this careful. But we do. And when we learn to harness this and embrace this and pay attention to it and have a knowing, it makes shopping really easy, actually. Because I don't go in the center aisles. And if I do have to go in the center aisles, I know exactly where it is. I go right to it, I grab it, and get out of the aisle. I'm not lured into all the marketing. I shop with blinders on and with a list. So the organic whole food stores do have things on their shelves that are not organic and non-GMO. Pay attention. I noticed that when we were in the East last year. It was a salsa that had all kinds of wonky ingredients, and I knew it because I've seen it in the box stores, and I'm like, that's not organic, and it doesn't have non-GMO. And yes, you have to be careful with those foods. You've heard me share that before too. Not all brands are created equally. And the more in tune you become with your body, the more you pay attention to inflammation the next day, that's a pretty good indicator that you are eating something that is not necessarily the best quality. So, that's what I'm teaching my community, is to learn how to be really in tune, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And that in tuneness, the more in tune we become, the more aware we are. That knowledge is power and really will carry us through. But pay attention. Pay attention to what you're purchasing. Do not shop when you're hungry. And, that should be a rule of thumb regardless where you are. I tend to do that on occasion because we shop on a day and we try to get it all done, and there isn't always healthy options for food eating other than what you're purchasing. And we don't pause to take a snack sometimes. So the health food store purchase can be awfully high some days. But again, our food is an investment. Don't shop when you're hungry, and pay attention. Pay attention, become aware. One of the things I do is when I find a food that I really like, that I know is good, and that I feel confident in the company, I will create a folder on my phone and take pictures of those products. And then I do searches, whether I can get it on Amazon or Walmart or wherever I can get it. I find the better pricing. So, we have a method to our madness when it comes to shopping, and it is a shame that we have to go to that degree. But again, our food is our health care. We've been here 15 years. We do not have a PCP. I do not have a doctor. We go if there is an emergency basis, and we've had to do that a couple times, and we've learned that the local hospital is scary. But we don't need the medical world, and yes, it holds a place, but we don't need it. When we are eating healthy, we are sleeping 7 to 8 hours, between 7 and 9 hours. Everybody needs a little different sleep, but I do great on 7. 8, I feel sluggish. 7 is my thing. So get the hour of sleep you need, get good sleep, get in a routine. I fought being on a schedule for a very long time because I wanted to be spontaneous and in control. Well, guess what? When you create a really good routine, you're in more control than you ever could be. And getting, we go to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I know. It might sound sad, but it's amazing because we get good sleep, we get good REM sleep, we get up, we feel refreshed, we get to watch the day come alive. I get to enjoy my beautiful mornings. The man is happy, he's gotten all his sleep, because I'm the morning person. I love watching the world come alive. He does as well, but from a hunting standpoint, not on a daily basis. So, getting that good sleep, movement is so important, and eating healthy foods. You do that, and you won't even need to be looking for the magic pill. Making sure that we are getting our minerals and our vitamins is extremely important because that helps the body to methylate and to do everything that it needs to do. When we are feeding it what it needs, it runs very optimally. So this is just all, this is all stuff we've been told all along, but we kind of disregarded the importance of it and also didn't understand. Now many of us, because we're not well, are seeking to understand things, and we have the sad diet, here in the United States, and it's changing, and I'm excited about that. And I want you guys to also play a role in that, where there are areas in your community or in your state, county, that you can play a role in either teaching. You know, some of you are really good gardeners. You know, teach the younger generations how to garden. Um, Sign petitions where they're trying to clean things up and support the representatives that are making a change and a difference right now. The more we can support that and build that, the better off we're going to be. And my prayer is that beyond these 4 years, we continue to see this being implemented, and that it's just not a 4-year once and done thing. But we've got 4 years, and that's the thing. We can't look at the negative side of that. We've got to look at what we can accomplish in this period. As things are becoming rapid fire and changes are being made, embrace them. Play a role in it. Be a part in it. And pay attention. You know, as you guys hear me say all the time, wisdom is knowledge. Yeah, knowledge is power, but it's only power when you're putting it in action. If you know it, but you're not really caring enough to look when you're shopping, you know, you're not gonna advance from where you're at. And even if you can't go hardcore into an organic or a non-GMO diet, start somewhere. Start with your, you know, your biggest snack foods, or the things you eat the most. For us, we are just such a meat and potatoes kind of family that everything is from the earth. You know, we don't do a whole lot of processed foods. We're very transparent. There are some snacky foods that we go for, but it has to be organic or non-GMO, or I'm flat on my back. I get sick. So I'm your greatest test tube for all of that stuff. I flare instantly. I get extreme inflammation. So, and I can guarantee you also, when you start making these changes, if you weren't in tune with your body, you will become in tune with your body, because as you start cleaning up your body, it becomes more vocal and will start showing you what it doesn't like. The mountain man experienced that as he was embracing this. You know, I've embraced this for a very long time. But he, with his work, you know, sometimes whatever's available is whatever is available, but he feels it. And you know, when he realized that all of his aches and pains from 11 years of professional bull riding dropped out of the picture, you know, that's pretty eye-opening. And I know you guys will notice things too. You know, all of a sudden your high blood pressure is no longer high. All of these things that we are experiencing, high cholesterol, all of these things. And as you start eating healthier, even if you're not moving as much as you would like to, and again, let me point this out, the kill it kind of workouts are really not the things that we need, although that's what's portrayed and the world thinks. And a good walk outside can produce better benefits for many people. And just changing your diet can start changing everything. Your body is designed in a miraculous way to do exactly what it's called to do. But because of all the toxicity, we are unable. And that is something that is really important for us to realize. When you start getting your body where it can do what it's called to do, like my son, you're just going to have pounds dropping off, and you're going to start reshaping and feeling so much better. And that is just so important. Okay, so Miss Laura says, eating good food and spending time and money on your health is more important than most realize. Imagine losing your health at 40 and not being able to work prime earning years. All of a sudden, I was willing to do everything I could just to be able to make dinner and clean the house. Exactly. And, you know, for me as well, you know, that everything changed on a dime. From morning, I was delivering 3 cords of firewood with my son. Evening, I couldn't pick up a canning jar half full of oatmeal. You know, things can change on a dime. And the more we ignore our health, For those of you that are living the American dream and are out of high school, married, working, getting ready for retirement, excited for retirement, and hit retirement and you can't do a blessed thing because you don't have your health. And that's what I'm seeing. And, you know, our health is everything. Our health is our cornerstone and our foundation. God created our temple, and he's asked us to take good care of it. And if we are not taking good care of it, you're going to continue to see the repercussions. And, you know, you can continue to push things off. I know many of you are afraid to go to the medical system, but find yourself a good natural integrative doctor and practitioner. If you don't have one, I would be happy to be that for you. I am doing this because I didn't have that. I didn't have that accessible to me in my own healing journey, and this is where God has led me. I would be absolutely thrilled to help you rebalance your body. Vicky's waving her hands. And it is a passion. I've always enjoyed helping people, but helping people at this capacity is very different because I get to watch God's hand at work in them, through them, and their mess becomes their message a lot of times. So it's pretty awesome. But don't let yourself go. Don't let these things that are whether you are seeing a doctor and they can't figure it out, or they're just shoving more big pharma on you, or whether you just don't want to go because you don't want to know what they have to say, you know, find an integrative health practitioner. The purpose of an integrative health practitioner or a naturopath is to get to the root cause of what is causing your struggles. I can tell you it's food. It's food, air, toxicity, all of those things. But when you start to clean the body, our bodies are amazing and they will respond regardless if you've been suffering for 5 years, 20 years, 40 years. Your body is amazing. It is designed to heal. And when you start nurturing it, it will respond. Miss Laura says, I'm also weary of processed organic foods. Yeah, you know, we have to be. We have to be. You know, when the box stores have their own brand that says organic, you have to wonder where it comes from and what they're putting in that packaging. I get that. I totally get that. So we have to do the best we can do with what we've got. And beyond purchasing from the box stores or any store, if we are buying organic heirloom seeds and we are planting them for ourselves, we know firsthand that there is no pesticides on it. We know that it is from our own ground. We know where it came from, and we can trust that. And that, you know, living that traditional life, doing those traditional things may take a little bit more time, but it certainly does give you the benefit of knowing where your food comes from. Now, here's the other thing. Many cannot do that, either where they're living, their lifestyle, whatever the case may be, or they may not be well enough to do that. So find local people to you that are doing it and growing things the way you want it to be grown, without the pesticides, without all the garbage, using good quality seeds, not GMO seeds, and work with them. Try to purchase from them in bulk. You know, back east, a lot of the Amish had stands. They have farmers markets every mile, not just the Amish. You know, here we have farmers markets. They're a little more spread out and harder to come by, but they are available. But find them, find the farmers. Work with local people. Look for bountifulbaskets.org, I believe it is, or .com, Bountiful Baskets. They are all over the United States. You can find them. They have regular baskets. They also have organic baskets, and it's produce and fruit. Do the best you can with what you've got, where you're at, but pay attention. If you are purchasing things off the shelf, do not only look at the ingredients, but look at all the little side print and look for the words bioengineered ingredients. They are having to display that, and you need to be aware of that. And if you look at old packaging versus new packaging, it's pretty amazing. And there's really not a whole lot of consistency with it. If you know a product is using it, don't touch it. Hellmann's mayonnaise is one of the ones I'm aware of that is using. I know that there is a lot of the gum on the gum shelves, and the candies have bioengineered. So think about that. You're giving that to your kids. What is that doing to their hormones and their reproductive systems? What is that doing to their minds? You know, we have so many kids with ADHD and learning disabilities. So things to think about. And, you know, it's a lot to think about. It can be overwhelming, especially if you're not well. For those of us that have experienced debilitating health issues, brain fog plays a role in that. It's hard to process all that stuff. So get a notebook and write things down, right? You know, I shared that I use my phone to take pictures of the products that I like and refer back to that, because sometimes, you know, you use it once and then you forget and you haven't used it in a while. I like to do that. But I also use Evernote, and I have notes in there of the things I purchased, from where, and really, I also use something called Workflowy, which allows you to drag and drop things. And that way, if I create my grocery list in there actually, and if I get it from one store and then the price changes or something changes, I can move it from one store to the next so that I'm able to easily shop. So, you know, and you could do the same in a notebook. So, but pay attention to the food you're eating. I can't share it enough. It's just so vital. If you're eating out, be cautious. The foods are just riddled with toxicity. So, you know, our rule is when we go out, we pack our food, or we plan to get something at one of our stops that we can eat on our travels. But we typically travel with a cooler if we are traveling anywhere away from the homestead. So those are my thoughts for today. I'm going to jump off of YouTube right now and go for 20 minutes here with my special access community, one-on-one, face-to-face. You guys are welcome to join me. You can go to faithledhealing.com/community and sign up for the special access so that you can Zoom with me every Wednesday instead of just YouTubing. And I just wanted to mention Mr. Keith. Actually, that's really cool that you just said that. He just pops on the screen. There are more than 500 U.S. doctors per day trying to move here. Oh, I believe it. I believe it. And Keith, you asked me last week as I was jumping off, I saw your question, and we're going to broach that next week. Keith is from New Zealand, and he asked what we do in the United States to stay on our homesteads but be able to make an income from the homestead without leaving. So I want to touch on that. We did that for quite a few years. We are gearing back to that space. Lots of things we can do. But yeah, I totally hear you, Keith. Though things are starting to shape up in the United States, there are some drastic changes being made, and I'm very prayerful that those changes are going to be lasting and make a very impactful difference here. Like getting rid of some of our ingredients and some of the garbage in our food for sure, and that's just the beginning. So I'm always glad when you're joining me, my friend. That's awesome. So I'm going to let YouTube go. You guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you next week. Keep listening to the podcast. We took a little bit of a hiatus to get our schedule in place, but more podcasts coming your way on Mountain Woman Radio and Faith-Led Healing. So I will see you guys next week. Have a great day. God bless.